and Aliens Among Us. So that's when I think my life gets interesting, because after I go and get to wear the Navy uniform, I wore Air Force first in Lowry Air Force Base in Colorado. Then I get to wear the Navy uniform and go through hospital corpsman and become a corpsman. Then they take me in the basement again and tell me and another girl and a guy that his father wrote for President Reagan's speech stuff. They took us and said we would never get a DD-214. So we would never, ever get a DD-214. So I guess we were in some kind of special
Explain
group.
Explain what a DD-214 means. Explain what that is. What is a DD-214?
I don't know, because I never got one. But it's basically what people like to look at, a piece of paper. It's what you get. It's the paperwork, right? You fill out. Apparently, I've seen them written, and I mean, I have one. They gave me one, but it was a fake one. It only had 5 months and 11 days on it for the training. They said, because they didn't want to have to pay me the rest of my life any benefits for the kind of work I did. So it's a way to get you in for training for less than 6 months on the books. But now Tom had got out at 13 years, but I spent on paper 8 years in uniform. But that would be called active duty and then reservist. But I also worked on the base in personnel and information security as a civil servant, as a GS status. But I worked because before I went in, I worked with the FBI, training FBI, and then I helped with train some Treasury people, tax people in Great Lakes. And I got my business information certificate, and then I learned to use weapons there. I got certified in Chicago. So it overlaces civilian wage grade. I learned wage grade. I drove a big truck. And I learned, let's see, I was a GS, I was a reservist, I was active duty, I was in all uniforms, I was in black ops, and training. I almost had to go south, Antarctica, but I didn't have to through the Air Force. But after I got out of this, Karen, and did all this training and
so wait a minute.
spy business.
Let me ask you something. So when I was on Johnson Atoll, where I was civilian, then I working for the military, they did the rotation to Antarctica. You could go Antarctica, Greenland, Marshall Islands, Kwajalein, and Johnson Atoll. And these were all the people that had high-level clearance, and they would do the rotation. So I was talking to them, because I had been cleared somehow. Now, I'm civilian. I have zero military background.
There's
I'm
a
over
lot
in
you don't know.
Base. Right. There's a lot I don't know about why I got there. But when I got there, it was like, I'm cute, but not that cute, right? I was surrounded by all kinds of people paying a lot of special interest in me. But you said right there, you almost said, what the hell is in Antarctica? And all this stuff
just
is now
another
coming out in
base.
the UFO field.
Well, Tom worked there, and they trained people to live off planet, but they put them underground. And he said a lot of them went crazy because of the lighting and knowing that they don't have any something to do with sunlight, if I remember correctly. And it was really terrible.
Yeah, half a year or so.
I just only know what I can tell you that he experienced, because I didn't. Now, some of the friends of mine at the Larry Air Force Base did have to go. They were getting their winter gear and all that. It was spooky, because we'd talk about it, in the cafeteria together. But I was in an Air Force uniform. But I was waiting for my clearance, my top secret or SCI, because I had a German man came and said I had Royal 14. It was above top secret, special compartmental, and all that. It was royal. So that could have been why I was meeting with the royal people, and I don't know. And my husband and I knew it was above the president, because they explained to us, like he was like level 4 or something. We were already up at 14 by that, and it went up to like 33. I thought that was odd that it went up like the Masons. You know what I'm saying? The 33 degrees. That's just could be a coincidence.
Yeah, 33 degrees.
It could be a coincidence.
Like. Okay, let's ask you another question, okay? Because we're all over the place. Do you want to ask her a question and
no, I think what it sounds like to me.
Until the end of the question.
We didn't even get to the aliens yet.
Go ahead and ask your question.
Well, it sounds
I know.
like
We're unpacking this.
It sounds like to me that you were innocent, you both were young, and they were razzle-dazzling you in all these places, and you had so much information coming in, and they had some way to release a lot of the information they didn't want you to hold on to. So that may be why you're confused a lot, and you remember some of it, and some of it, is not as clear as it used to be.
Yeah, and Tom and I... Yeah, we had both. Now, Karen, listen to this. When we met, we didn't know we knew each other. Well, he knew because he didn't know. He put it together because his handler from the CIA brought him the hardcover. Back in the 80s, we still had hardcover, cardboard files, with all the paperwork in it. We didn't have, we had computers, but we didn't keep everybody. But he knew then, that's when he knew that was me in the dress. And that he realized I was the one that he had the scope on. So we didn't put all this together till way later. I mean, it was amazing. So he and I were both assigned to find out about extraterrestrials, but we didn't know it. And then
target?
Well, I think we were each other's target because I've heard somebody in the UFO community, I won't mention names, but back when Don Berliner, and do you know who Stanton Friedman is by chance? Are you in the UFO? You do?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
everybody knows him.
Well, I didn't know because I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't either. I never met him that I know of, but he was in that group.
I've met him a dozen times.
So Janet knows him.
Okay, so... Yeah, but let's go back to what was you? Oh, God.
I don't know where we were on the storyline. Well, ask Karen. Karen, where were we in the storyline?
Well, it was about Antarctica.
To make a point.
And then you were going around everywhere.
That. Yeah, we got to slow
and then
down.
what I was trying
to do one thing at a time. Mm-hmm.
What I'm picking up is that the reason you're confused and you're not clear and it doesn't flow clearly is because they did that.
I had missing time because, I wound up doing alien stuff. Now, remember the last time you were on here, you wanted to know about Preston and me going to Long Island and working on Montauk.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
So,
because I was involved.
That blows me away. When I was 16, after the guys,
we were all connected.
Yeah, so somewhere in between that going to the movie and getting married, then in 68 or 69, I go with my husband, his father that worked at NASA, and his father worked for Grumman. Well, Grumman had a bunch of top secret stuff going on at Montauk,
in Clear Lake?
We
you said NASA in Clear Lake.
Yeah, NASA Clear Lake. Yeah, we lived out there. So, but his father, they moved to Long Island, and that's when I got taken to meet some. Well, I don't even know what I met, but I think it was the little gray beings because that's what I see. But it's like with Janet and that Lawrence Spencer she introduced me to and brought him on the radio. He became a friend of mine. He sent me his book autographed, and he's a very nice guy. He lives in Texas where you are. But I saw some of those little grays with their minds, but they were scared to death. So, Janet and I sort of assumed I must have been one because I had this remote viewing experience on her show before I ever knew about. She went and tracked that Lawrence Spencer down.
No,
I don't know how
you forget, TJ. TJ,
what?
You told me, and I will have to go get the show. It's back from 2012 or 2013. You said that you came down into the timeline and you actually delivered the crap, and you were the one that was You said Tom was the one who got shot in the leg and then he died, and you were the one that were taken into the underground base and interrogated. Then
well, I know the story too well from a first-hand.
No, you
I know
said
the
that
story.
after you died, you went up on the ship.
I told you the story before you found a guy with a book. I told you the story, and then I got a Nickell and Dennis.
Later,
it's all confused, Karen, because we need somebody to help separate all my storylines. Because it's all the same story, but you got to remember. Well, no, I mean I lived through it.
Say a sentence.
Well, go ahead.
So stop. Let me say what I'm saying. Yeah, you always talk over me, so. And I'll find this if I can. I'll go back in time, and you actually said that it was you. So I don't know if you were hypnotized and recovering, because if I do a one-on-one with somebody, I tend to hypnotize them just because I'm a hypnotherapist, and I get people into a deep state, and then they start spilling their guts often. And I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I got called on that one time. Oh, right, because I'm a highly trained therapist, and I just get into like a Vulcan mind meld thing. So you start saying all this stuff about who I am,
firsthand,
what I did, firsthand. It was not I saw this on Lawrence Spencer's whatever. No, then you were shocked when we found it, and I go, and then you had it took a delay, and I said, TJ, Lawrence Spencer is talking about your story. You're the one that got taken to the underground facility. And then Lawrence Spencer's information has the dialogue because the nurse, they called her a nurse, recorded it all, made a copy of her stuff, and stole away with her and went to Ireland. And then she contacted Spencer when she was dying. And she somehow she mailed him or something. Isn't it back when you could do stuff like that? And so then he decided to publish it. But Lawrence didn't know that you were Errol LeGray. I'm the one that pieced it together because I knew your story that you told me firsthand, like in a hypnotherapy session, and then I discovered, and I went, holy crap, look at this. That's your story, right?
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's the part that makes...
So...
I was missing time back then. You call it the 20 and back program. So Tom and I knew about going off 20 years and coming back, but we were only missing 15 seconds. We figured out between the two of us. See, it's real complicated, Karen. It's going to be hard to tell all this live through because. Do you?
Yeah, Robert and I have been through a missing time. Yeah, absolutely. No, I know all that.
Okay. Well, we were missing
15 seconds. Wait a minute. How in the world? I would never know I was missing 15 seconds. So
because they told us.
Hours. How do you know you're missing 15 seconds?
Because the council. The people that are like us that we work with off planet, we call them the CIA, but they're the CIA of the universe. They're the guardians of the galaxy. Because we were asking.
So what did they tell you about missing 15 seconds?
Because some things
they
don't
turn you in a 20 and back. It's not exact time, so you're not exactly taken at the right second. You're returned 15 seconds later. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're gone a long time, but we're only missing 15 seconds or 14. The reason I could see, I've had to put this together, Karen, through listening to how my life worked and then Tom's story. And Tom and I had similar stories, but we scared each other. But while we were underground, we had to go through Fort something. I've forgotten already. I've forgotten more than I can. It was Texas.
And you found the pieces fixed together.
It was Mexico, yeah. We had to go to the mountain, and we had to go under the mountain. But we would work with he would play cards with the guys that had the little grays and the bottles inside the mountain. They call it Dulce. They called it Dulce, but we weren't allowed to talk about anything then. but they took us for hours through the